Okay, next item on the list as we work our way down are the actual LED lights. Now the ones I've used are high intensity 12 volt LED lights. Two on the shed here, and as I said we've got others around the area, but I'll just show you these ones. Got this one here, throws a bit of light down here and into this area around here. It also gives us a light to work with if we've got to work out here or pull a vehicle up, you know, to load stuff or unload or whatever the case may be. This is the other one. You can see a little bit of condensation inside the lens there. That doesn't worry it. The quality of these you've got to be very careful of. These ones, all the componentry inside of it are sealed in a resin block, so it makes it waterproof. They are plastic cased. As I said, these have been up here for quite a while, and there's been no problem with UV damage to the plastic casing of it. Now this particular one here I've got pointing down the yard, and if button nose just does a quick turnaround, it throws enough sufficient light to the front gate down there of a night to see what you're doing and unlatch the gate. That's probably it's over 25 metres anyway, so it's a nice soft light. It gives you enough light to see what you're doing, but it doesn't greatly affect your night vision if you happen to wander off into a blind spot. Alrighty, now we'll go inside and have a look at the rest of the system. Okay, coming off the solar panels, as I said, I use regulators on it. They're only 10 watt solar panels. This also gives me the capability of putting much larger solar panels on there if I want to, and I do need to. I need to set up a charging station here to charge batteries. Now the one on the right is a solar regulator. It's a 12-24 volt one. In other words, it actually senses whether you're using a 12 or 24 volt solar panel, and consequently a 12 or 24 volt solar system. Very simple, just sets it up. You've got the wiring coming in here off your panel on the roof, and this wiring goes out to this particular battery here, which I keep on a float charge for the generator. Flashing lights, that indicates that that's your battery charge level. All three lights means that that battery is fully charged. A flashing light on the far left, the green one, that indicates through the design of this that that battery is also fully charged. And that's your basic regulator. This one has a 10 amp capacity, which means I can put solar panels on there. I wouldn't like to run at a full 10 amp capacity, but somewhere a bit below that, somewhere about, I don't know, about 9 amps is a nice safe level. The voltage coming out of these, I'll just give you a demo. I actually dropped this meter yesterday and it stopped working on me.
Hope it works today for you then.
Oh, it's working today.
That's alright.
Yesterday was one of those days where anything I touched just turned to crap. Okay. Got a little flip top lid just as a bit of a safety precaution. Okay, off the solar panel at the moment. Got about 17.5 volts coming off the solar panel. That's into the input on this solar regulator. The output of the regulator to the battery is around about 14 volts. Okay. There's also another set of terminals on here where you can connect auxiliary things like lights or solar lighting and that sort of thing if you want to, which means that they're on all the time, night and day. Which brings me to the other regulator, which I'll cover in a minute. What I've also done here is put an isolation switch on. It's on at the moment so that if I need to replace the battery, I can switch it off and it isolates the regulator from the battery. The last thing you want to do is actually, while you're mucking around with this, is short out these clamps. It doesn't do the regulator much good. They do have a inbuilt safety circuit in there for short circuiting, but it's something you really don't want to risk. Okay, the other one, and this is the one that controls the security lighting. There's an updated version of it. It also acts as a battery charger. Two green lights there means that battery is, this one here, is fully charged. Again, a 24 volt system, and it automatically detects your solar panels and also your battery charging system. Again, rated at 10 amps. You can get them much higher rating if you want to put huge solar panels on there. The difference between this one and that one is that this one can be programmed with this button here to set up how long your security lights run of a night. Now you can set it up as I've done from dusk till dawn, or you can set it, there's a menu that comes with it, a piece of paper that tells you how to set it up. You can run it for 3 or 4 hours a night. You can change the time from when they switch on, switch off, and so on. The way I've got mine set up is that they run all night. Also put isolation switches on here. I also used this for internal LED lighting in the shed. There's no grid power in this shed at all. And if we have a quick look up here, this is a 12 volt LED lighting strip. I've got 3 of them mounted in here, and of a night it's bright enough to actually read a book. So if I need to come up here, start the generator or do something else in this shed, I've got readily lighting, power, solar power available. One, because I haven't got grid power to the shed, and two, even if I wanted to run an extension lead from the house, in the event of a grid failure, I wouldn't have any lighting in here at all apart from a handheld flashlight or something like that. So, and that's proved itself many times. So what I did was wired in some toggle switches here which control the external lights and also the internal LED lighting here. Now basically what I'm using are lead acid batteries. I won't go into too much on technicality on batteries. There are many different types out there, deep cycle batteries and so on. So it's depending on your application. If you want to go this way, you've really got to do your research in your batteries. The reason why I use lead acid batteries is because they're interchangeable with my vehicles, these being light truck batteries, so I can swap them in and out. I have used small SLAs like this for the security lighting on this shed, and I definitely use one of these on other security lighting I've got around the place here. These are good, had no problems with them, but with the weather we've been having, we haven't had a lot of sunshine over a 2 or 3 day period, heavy rain, heavy cloud and so on. These ones don't have the capacity for that sort of situation. It doesn't mean the lights go out, it just means they're a little bit dimmer. So I went to the bigger capacity batteries so that if, and we do have, we have a few days of very low sunlight or no sunlight, certainly not enough to operate the solar panels, you've got plenty of storage in here. The biggest problem you've got with solar powered systems of any type, the most vulnerable part of it is the batteries. Okay, now you're looking at medium, maybe short term to medium term. Out at our retreat, and I did a video on that where we used solar powered LED lighting out there. The longest life I got out of a battery was 5 years. So that's what you're looking at. Again, different battery technologies. You've got to do a bit of research into it to suit your requirements and your needs. Another thing I found with batteries is it's a concrete floor. In cold weather, these batteries don't perform particularly well when they're sitting on very cold concrete floors. Concrete doesn't absorb a lot of heat, and it tends to affect the efficiency of their batteries. So that's why I put it up on a stand under blocks of wood. So again, keeps that chill out of the batteries off the cold concrete, and it provides a bit more air circulation around the batteries as well. So I think that pretty well covers it, folks. There are other types of power, wind turbines and that sort of thing. These systems are very easy to install. Very reliable. The only problems I've ever had with them, again, as I said, the most valuable part is the battery. But as I said, different battery technologies out there. The lead acid battery we had at our retreat, that was a lead acid battery, much smaller capacity one too, by the way. That lasted about 5 years. So as with most battery systems, it's a storage for the energy coming off the solar panels. For those that have electrolytes in them, you've got a regular battery maintenance, you've got to check the electrolyte levels in them. So another form of lighting. As far as this shed is concerned, it's off the grid. And we've got the generator here if we need it for short-term use on the house. So that's a few ideas, folks. Yeah, it's high-tech, survival stuff, but as I said before, use what resources are available to you, whether it's modern or going back a bit in age, time and that sort of thing. As long as you've got a broad spectrum of skills, and sure enough, over a period of time, the batteries will fail and the solar system will eventually become unusable. Simply, one of the reasons being batteries fail. Another thing you've got to look at too is, as I said before, this is storm central around here. We get a lot of ground strikes from lightning, storms, that sort of thing. There are a lot of houses around here that are totally off the grid, totally reliant on solar power, and they've got to have generator backup, by the way, in case they don't get enough sunlight to recharge their batteries. But one of the problems that a lot of the independent supplies, solar powered type systems have experienced in this area, particularly with storms and lightning strikes, is a lightning strike will produce an EMP, not on the scale of a nuclear blast or anything like that. And I've heard of quite a few properties around here that offline that a close lightning strike will, through induction, through wiring and cabling and that sort of thing, will blow the regulators. So that's something else you've got to consider too, is protecting them against that. This shed is a bit like a Faraday cage. I haven't had any problems with blowing regulators, and we've had quite a few close lightning strikes around here, to the point where you can actually smell the gas coming off it. So that's something else to think about too. Certainly the regulators today have much better protection in them, but it's always better to add just that little bit more protection from such things as EMPs or that sort of thing. Anyway, folks, that's our solar security lighting system. Very simple. Might give you a few ideas to work on. Certainly very efficient in power use. These lights draw about remember from the specs, about 350 milliamps for each unit, and they run all night. Another thing to consider is your length of cable runs. The longer the cable run, the higher the losses in voltage and current. So that's another consideration you've got to take in, types of wire you use, whether you go to a 12 volt system or a 24 volt system for much longer distances. So a few things to think about. Works well for us, and a few ideas for the members of the forum to think about or adapt or whatever. Thanks very much for watching.